There was Shepherd Tidmarsh. Now he was a wonderful man, Shepherd Tidmarsh. I always thought he was a man and a half. What he didn't know about sheep, well, it wasn't worth bothering about. He was most conscientious man, and first of all, I'll describe him a bit. He was rather unusually dressed compared to today's dress. He wore cord trousers with what we called the tailboard front, and then he wore Yorks at the bottom of these trousers. They were leather straps just below the knee, you see. Well, when I asked him what they were for, he used to tell me, "Oh, they be to keep the dust out of me eyes." But I found out after that it was to give a bit of fullness at the knee when he was sweating and stop his trouser buttons being pulled off. You see, when he was working, there was a purpose in these Yorks. And then he wore a jacket of grey fustian, similar to very hard wearing stuff, you know, and a waistcoat with lots of pockets, one for his watch and his tobacco. And then on top of that, during the lambing time, he wore a thing like a pinafore frock made out of sacking with some binder twine down the middle. And he got his battered old trilby, and he used to keep his clay pipe stuck in his Yorks when he wasn't smoking it. And he smelt a mixture of Jay's fluid, Stockholm tar, twist tobacco, cider, and well, and sheep, I should say. Not that he wasn't clean, mind you. I mean, he was a clean man, but it was just the smell of him. And everything seemed to be for a purpose. Now, he had his thumbnails a bit on the long side for getting the maggots out of the sheep, you see. He grew them specially for that. He never cut his thumbnails very much for maggoting the sheep, you see.
So he used his fingers instead of a tool or something like
That's right, yes. Yeah. And then he got about 3 teeth at the front, which he used to use for castrating the lambs, and they came in very handy. He did the castration with his teeth, you see. And then another spare time job of his was doctoring cats. He used to put a pair of steel spectacles on the end of his nose, and he looked real professional when he was doing that. But he was a very nice old chap, and he taught me lots of things. But at haymaking time, it was never just right for him, the hay wasn't. He was always very critical. He'd say, "We haven't put enough work into it. It isn't fit to carry," or something like that. "There's no herbage in it. There's no nature in it," whatever that meant. It shouldn't like it used to be, when we used to do it by hand, you see. Well, he used to build the rick. And we'd got one haymaking time, we got to one rick about 3 parts of the way up. And Mr. Bailey, my father's partner, had just bought a wireless set. And he came out in the rickyard about tea time. He says, "I just heard the forecast." He says, "It's going to rain tomorrow." So my father said, "Oh, well, if that's it, Harry," he said, "we better pick up that other ground of hay tonight," he said, "before it gets spoiled." And old Shepherd, he says, "That's never fit in the world." He said, "It'll fire as safe as eggs." He says, "No, carrying that's too green." So my father said, "Well," he said, "we'll risk it anyway." So they got it up together, and old chap kept grumbling all the time, and he was building this rick. And the biggest job was to get the old man down off the rick then, because he was pretty tottery. And 2 men held the bottom of the ladder, and 2 more on the top got him on the ladder, and the ladder trembled as he came down. And his words were, when he got onto the ground, he says, "I wouldn't go up there again for £5. And then he used to tell me about his son Will. And I said, "How many sons did you have, Shepherd?" He says, "Only one." He said, "And that was one too many." He said, "The silly young fool," he said, "in that first war," he said, "he went and joined that flying corps." Whatever he was thinking about, I don't know. He said, "Then he went bankrupt." He said, "And I was the biggest creditor." He said, "And he threatened to kill the official receiver." Oh, he said, "I have had some trouble with our Will." But as regards shepherding, old Shepherd was an expert. He could shear 40 sheep in a day with the hand shears, which was a very good day's work, as you'll agree.
Yeah.
Mind you, he said, when I sheared 40, he says, I catch my first ship at 4 o'clock in the morning, when I catch my first ship. And he was quite a character at concerts, and he used to sing a few songs at the armistice tea and that, you know, when he could be persuaded. I remember my father used to be chairman sometimes at the armistice tea, and he'd say, "Well, what about you, Shepherd? You going to have a song from you?" And he'd say, I got it on my chest tonight, master. I don't think I can manage it. And he'd start coughing. And his wife would dig him in the ribs and she'd say, come on, Alf, let's just have a couple. And there was one he used to sing. The fox and the hare and the badger and the bear and the birds in the greenwood tree and the pretty little rabbit so engaged in his habit, they've all got a mate but me. Then he used to turn to his wife and he'd say, they've all got a mate but me, and they both of them have a laugh then, you know. But he was a good-tempered old chap, old Shepherd was. I never knew him any different. Oh, he was the salt of the earth, there's no doubt about that. Men like that, they can't be replaced. When he died, I went to his funeral. I went to see him the night before, and he was telling me his jokes, just the same as ever, out of the that he got from the past, you know, past things that he remembered. And he used to tell me about when he was on the Cotswold, he used to drive the bullocks at plough. And they used to catch these brie flies, I don't even know what they're like. And he put a bit of horsehair around them and put them by the bullocks' ears, and up would go their tails, and away they used to go with the plough. And he said, we've always said that boys would be boys in any generation, weren't they? When we were thrashing, I remember one time I was carrying the water to the steam engine, and my father said, you haven't got quite enough to do, you better get up on the rickle and allow Shepherd and help him to build that straw rig. And I got up there. The old chap was critical as usual. This straw's no good for thatching. I said, why not, Shepherd? Oh, it's knocked out about too much of these modern threshing machines. When we used to have them wooden drums years ago, he'd say, they didn't knock it about like this, they kept it nice and straight. But he was a stickler for anything like that. And he always brought his own shuppick for thrashing, with a blacksmith made iron shuppick. You could see the stick was worn where his thumbs had of years ago, where he'd worn it just to suit himself, you know. But he was a handy man. And I know when we buried him up in the churchyard on the Saturday afternoon, I shed one or two tears. I felt really upset. I felt I'd almost lost a very personal friend. No, Shepherd. Yes, he was one of the best.
All right, you wants me to sing. But I'll sing that old song Tommy Smith used to, called The Village Pump. There's a pretty little village far away, where they grow potatoes, corn and hay. There's a trickling little rill which drives a little mill, and the mill keeps a working all the day. There's a lot of little houses in a lump, and a pub called the Magpie on the stump. Now if you walk that way, listen to what I say, for the pride of all the village is the pump. It's the pump, the village pump. It's the pump, 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 pump. It's the pump, the village pump. And the pride of all the village is the pump, pump, pump. Second verse, same tune, different words. Now our squire, you know, he likes a bit of fun. So on the day his son were 21, he gin us all a treat. There were beer and things to eat, and the kids all had an orange and a bun. There was candy for the boys and girls to scrum. There was races where they hop, skip and jump. And so to celebrate the day in a proper sort of way, we shoved another handle on the pump. On the pump, the village pump. On the pump, 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 pump. On the pump, the village pump. So we shoved another handle on the pump. Old Tommy always used to sing this at parties, weddings and funerals if there was a drop of drink about. Third verse. Now our milkman, he's a rummy sort of cuss. we noticed that his milk was getting worse. He got a sort of scheme where he sticks to all the cream, and it makes the old women sort of cuss. T'other morning they was led by Sarah Crump. They waited for the milkman in a lump, and when he came in sight they yelled with all their might, and there was a lively meeting round the pump. On the pump, the village pump, round the pump, 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 pump. Around the pump, the village pump, and there was a lively meeting round the pump. The other day, old Tommy Smith, he kept a few hens. He used to keep 'em about 2 fields away from the house, so it'd be a bit too far for his missus to go and get 'em, so they could have them unto herself. Anyhow, old Tommy was missing these eggs from these hens, so he kept watch one day, and he caught a boy in there. And he said, "Hey, you young vermin, it's you having them eggs, is it?" He said, "Come on out, I'll take thee down to the police station." So out the old boy come, and they got across one field, and the old boy looks up at him, and he said, "Hey, Mr. Smith, I left my cap in your hen's roost." "Ah," he said, "you better go back and get 'em then, boy." Away the old boy run. Of course, that was the last old Tommy see of he. And so he thought, well, I'll have 'em, I'll put the policeman on the job. So he put this policeman on to watching, and there too after he caught the boy in there, and fetched him out, taking him down to see old Tommy, and got halfway across the field. The old boy looked up at him and said, "Please, Mr. Policeman, I left my cap in that hen roost." "Ah, you young vermin," he said, "you had old Tommy on that, and t'other day you gonna go now, but you stop here, I'll go back and fetch him myself."
Morning. Let me have 2 gallons, please.
2, sir.
Yes, please. Mrs. Crewe, Mrs. Mary Crewe, how old are you?
I shall be 81 the 20th of December.
Well, that's a fairly advanced age to be doing the petrol pumps, isn't it?
Well, as long as you are able to do it, it's quite nice work. You meet a lot of nice people. They have a chat to you, and that do pass the time away.
Now, in the old days, the way you got petrol was different from today.
Oh, yes, I started in cans. My husband didn't want me to start, but I said, yes, I am. And I started, and then we went from cans to a barrel.
Now, how much was petrol in those days?
Well, as far as I can remember, it was about 1 and 5.8, I think. The gallon. That would have been about 2 and 10, I think it was, for 2 gallons, as far as I can remember mine. And of course, then after we put it in cans, we thought, well, we'll have 2 pumps. This one here is a modern pump.
Yeah.
It can be turned into electric if it's wanted, but the other one isn't.
The first lot of pumps I bought was pumps. These, what I call artificial pumps.
Well, these more modern ones, you mean?
Yeah, but the first lot as I bought was Fry's pump, and you had the handle in it was quite easy. They had a semi-roachy, and they had a big glass container at the top. You'd pump your petrol 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 and it'd overflow back to the tank. More straightforward than what it is today. It's like everything else. It's mad jack today, you know. People got no patience.
Don't you find it hard work cranking it?
Hard work? It's exercise. It's exercise, sir. Where should I have been today if I hadn't done exercise? We find it very, very nice here, healthy, and we've got our own water. We haven't got that muck as you have from Birmingham and all them places. And we're up 1,000 feet.
Now, isn't that a bit of a problem in the winter, though?
Lovely, sir. Lovely. We have lived here 47 years, and we have never put no heat in but that fire, and we have never had eaten or nothing in our bed.
But you get cut off with the snow up here, don't you?
Oh, that's lovely. If you have it all too hot, it's wrong that way.
But don't you get worried when you're cut off? You get...
Not a bit. What do you want to get worried for? Puts life into you. You get me a shovel, I dug through snow. Oh, when I was 74. It keeps you fit.
But the drifts are so deep along here, though.
That don't hurt if you got the energy and pluck to do it. What I mean, it's better than sitting on a nest of eggs, isn't it? Go broody.
It certainly is. You've got lots of customers obviously coming here with their cars. Don't you wish you would like to travel a lot?
No, I don't. I don't like travelling in cars.
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't like 'em. I see too much driving along the road here to want to go out in cars.
Makes you nervous?
Oh, it does. No, I wouldn't ride out in cars. They can never get me to go nowhere. I haven't been away from the house but once in 23 years.
You've not left this cottage for 23 years?
Only to go round voting when I go to put me cross for my Conservative.
Don't you ever wish you want to get out and see the world?
No, no inclination at all for it. I'm quite happy and quite contented serving the people.
They sort of come to you, I suppose.
Oh, yes, yes.
The sort of outside world comes to you.
It comes to me instead of me going out to them.
The sun went down behind yon hills across yon dreary moors, when weary and lame a boy then came up to the farmer's door. Now can you tell me of any there be that to me will find employ for to plough and to sow, reap and mow, and be a farmer's boy, and to be a farmer's boy? That's a man of 70 years of age singing that. He used to go down to Swansea and sing there, sing all the carols, and the mummers used to come in and have a mummers, you know, in the pub, and have a sing-song all the way around, you know, make us off at home. Oh, we had very good times indeed. You get enough beer into it, and the old woman would say, oh, try a drop of my wine, and then you would add some blackcurrant wine and gooseberry wine, and some, and I were damned if you wasn't a gentleman. Oh, knock you straight out. Used to call it Stunham. You know. Oh, I used to make some homemade wines then, you know.
What sort of song would you sing at these parties?
Well, they'd have their own songs, see, but I wouldn't sing no whole song like connected with work. I suppose I used to leave work behind when they went out, see.
Would you like to sing another song, Mr. Pritchard?
Farmer Child? Aye. Now I comes from the country, my name this be Giles, and I travelled 130 odd miles, and as I've sort of a farmer bloke I have been took, but I tell thee I bean't such a fool as I looks. Right die. To see all the sights, well, I come a long way, and it cost I from 1 to 2 shillings a day. Right die. Now I comes up by train, and the journey was fine, on the London and Chatham and North Eastern line, and the snails and tortoises was such a yard talk, but I was in a hurry, I got out and walked. Right die. It took all the night and best part the next day. Walks got out and gathered wildflowers by the way. Right die. Now I went to the theatre in Leicestershire Square, and I be very pleased as my missus weren't there, for I seed lots of ladies all dressed up in tights, but my missus her won't let me look at such sights. Right die. I'd go every night if I had me own way, for one girl winked at I just as much as to say, right die. So I went to Westminster and I see pearly men, and a very enjoyable time that I spent. I had plenty to laugh at and much to admire, and I heard one gentleman call it other a lawyer. Right to roll, right to roll, right to roll, right die. They tells I that's all up to date up that way, and if I don't do much, I got plenty to say. Right to roll, right to roll, right to roll, right die. That's Farmer Giles. Used to have the whole minstrel troupe, you know, and all of it. Proper minstrels like they do on the what comes on the television now, exactly. The girls would sing Three Modest Quakeresses and White Wings and all dressed up a purpose, you know, and oh yes, it's proper do. Oh yes, it was quite as good as they comes on the thing now night, you know.
Did you tour around the other villages?
Yes, we did. Yes, different villages. Barnsley, Combe Rogers and Holsworth. Oh yes, we used to go about this minstrel troupe. I was a clown. I was a proper comic singer. Used to dress up in my minstrel clothes, you know, and...
Yes.
Oh, Mr.
Then when you got on the stage, how did you introduce yourself and start?
Oh, damn it.
Get on terms with your audience, there you are.
You set the piano up, the Dead Sea, sort of a bit of a touch, and off we did start. So early one morning at the break of the day, and the cocks was a crowing, the vermer did say, come rise, my good fellows, come rise, we good will. Your horses want something, their bellies to fill. So when 4 o'clock comes, then up we do rise, and into the stable so merrily flies. And rubbing and scrubbing our horses done well, we're all jolly fellows as follows the flow. Now when 6 o'clock comes, to breakfast we meet, and pork, bread and beef, why so heartily eat, and a piece in our pocket elsewhere, and I'll vow, for we're all jolly fellows as follows the flow. Oh, I knew I wouldn't let you get off the stage sometimes, you know. I'd want it all again. Oh, damn it, you would have dry as a fish.
What sort of song would they like today?
Oh, I don't want none of the old songs with a meaning to them. Got all our old songs years ago was wrote with a meaning. Like Genevieve and all them old songs have got a meaning. Like a book, hadn't them? But no, dear, these damn mess of songs now you Tickle Me Timothy Quick's no good at all. I don't like them anyway.
But what about the jolly songs and so forth?
Well, those songs that I shouldn't like to repeat. Not on this thing, anyway.
You don't think these songs are fit for consumption on the BBC, then?
No, only for the desert. You must go in the desert to sing there, where there's no echo. You mustn't have echo for anybody to hear.
There's some songs we can't hear.
Oh, my God, yes. Oh, and I wouldn't print them today. I know whatever there was printed.
You got a feeling for the comic song?
Yes, comic song. We can put a bit of something into it, you know, and work them up to you can get your party to come up with you then, you know. But I must have a bit of comic scene. So I couldn't sing a sentimental. I can sing sentimental songs, but I don't like them then. Now, baa, black sheep, have you any wool? Yes, sir, I 3 bags full. Then give me your lot and let your mutton go bare, for all the girls are busy knitting jumpers everywhere. And a knit one that's worth 3 and 6 as a rule. It takes 10 pair of needles and 2 tons of wool. But all the girls, they're busy knitting jumpers all day long. Can't you wear the jumper, girls saying, first 2 plain and then 2 purl. Knit 1, slip 1, make a stitch and drop 1. Leave the needles in the chair, so that pa with the got to do the jumpers jump, shouting jumpers everywhere. Now in the trams and buses I'll sit, now knit. They purchase the wool at a guinea per pound, and gets a lot of little hose and puts the hull around. At 9 pence a stitch, jumpers cost quite a lot, and the little hose between them cost God knows what. But all the girls, they're busy knitting jumpers all day long. Can't you wear the jumper, a girl saying, first 2 plain and then 2 purl. Knit 1, slip 1, make a stitch and drop 1. Leave the needles in the chair, so that pa with his got to do the jumpers jump, shouting jumpers everywhere.